And I guess she kind of looks like the Sphinx, only not. But she was generally depicted as like a lioness, but she was generally associated with protectiveness, which is, believe it or not, a very feline quality. Like, if a cat has decided that they are your human, or that you are their human, sorry, they are not your cat, you are their human. Once they decide you're mine, they will get protective. They will show it in weird ways, but they will get protective, trust me. Um, Side note, I used to have a cat named Shadow. And I was living in a little apartment, and there was a shooting outside of the apartment one night, and oh man, it really messed me up. Like, it freaked me out. Nobody died. It's okay. Nobody died. Everything was fine. I think the shooter went to jail. It was a big mess, but everyone was fine. But the fact that it happened, like, freaked me out. My cat Shadow. I had two cats at the time. One was named Skittles. The other one was Shadow. Shadow would not let Skittles anywhere near me for about 24 hours. Anytime he tried to come up to me, she was like, "Nope, get away, bitch." And then she took to sitting on the headboard of my bed. I had my headboard up against the window in my room, and she, like, tore my blinds apart because she had to sit on the top of that headboard and keep an eye out. And one night, a friend of mine, ironically named Kat, came by drunk as a skunk for whatever reason, didn't realize I was asleep, and knocked on my door. And I didn't answer, of course. So she came around to my window and was like, "Hey," and like, the Shadow went nuts. It was a fun story. It was a fun story because she says, I need to sleep on your couch." And I'm like, "Okay." So I had just taken an Ambien like a couple hours earlier, so I was like, ugh. So she walks in my door and she's like, "Somebody took my purse, and there's a Diet Dr. Pepper on your doorstep. Here." And she crashed on my couch. And so I went to bed. I put the soda on the counter, and I went back to bed. And the next morning, I woke up and I was like, that was a really weird dream. Because Kat never carried purses. And then I woke up and there was the Diet Dr. Pepper on the counter. And I was like, oh. And there was Kat on the couch. Oh. So she explained everything. It was a crazy story. But, anyway, so back to Bast. Side note ended. Bast is generally associated with cats and being a protector of the gods, I guess. But also, fun fact: at some point in Egyptian history, the little, like, pots that women would put perfume in, those started being referred to as basts or something like that. But whatever the word was, it was associated with her. So she was kind of like the goddess of perfume at the time. Because stuff like that evolves. And anyways, but because she was associated with these little pots carrying perfume, and Anubis was associated with mummification and embalming fluids were in certain little pots. There was a period in history where Bast and Anubis were married. The woman associated with cats and the guy with the head of a jackal, they were married. Fun fact. Random fact. Fun fact. Okay? So lasty is Horus. And Horus is, I think of all the minor gods that show up in this book, Horus is my favorite. He's so adorable. He's absolutely insane, but he's so cute. But as I sort of mentioned in the beginning of this show, Horus actually has a lot of backstory because he's associated with Osiris and Isis and Ra and all these different people, or all these different gods in Egyptian theology. He's associated, so he's like a big deal. But in American Gods, in and of itself, he is, as I said, absolutely insane. At some point prior to when the story begins, Horus decides to live forever in his falcon form, I guess it is. I wanted to say hawk, but I think he's actually a falcon. And so he transforms into a falcon, and so we see him every now and again going around in the sky and stuff like that, until we get to Shadow on the World Tree. At which point, Horus gets in the tree with him, changes back into a human form, jibber jabbers away, and then flies off. But then but what he really does is he flies off and he finds Easter, whom we will discuss in the next show, by the way. He flies off, he finds Easter, and he says, we gotta go save Shadow because he's the only one that can stop all this insanity. And she goes, okay, show me how to get there. And anyways, one thing leads to another, and he takes her there. When they get there, she's like, you know what you have to do. And he's like, but I'm insane. And she's like, yeah, I know, but go. Oh, I love her too. Anyways, all you need to know about Horus in relation to American gods is that he is, in Egyptian theology, the god of the sun and the sky. So it is very appropriate that at the end he is the one that clears the clouds and allows the sun to come out, while Easter revives Shadow from his Odin-like sacrifice to Odin on the world tree. That's not really the world tree, but it's really an ash tree, but the world tree is an ash tree anyways. That's all you need to know about Horus. So, that's all I have to say about Egyptian gods. I meant to record this show way before this. Did not happen. So, that being said, if you would like to contact me on social media, the username to look for is PurpleBecca923. That's PurpleBecca 923. That is where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Woo! I almost knocked over a cup because I'm gesticulating. That's a cool word. Look it up. If you would like to email me, it is purplebubblespace, all one word, all spelled out, at gmail.com. My website is purplebubblespace.simdiff.com. I am working on getting an actual domain name sometime this year. And maybe even a much fancier, schmancier website, but we'll see how that all works out. So, purplebubblespace.simdiff.com. There should be links in my Spreaker profile and likely on this show page for you to visit the website and or email me. So, until next time, remember, education is fresh. Learning is awesome. So go out there, create what you deserve, and fly with the penguins. Toodaloo!